Hello gang, welcome back to another true crime tale with me, Yinka Bokinni. Now, the case that I'm going to talk to you about today is actually unsolved and still remains a mystery. Because his is a face that if you live in England, you know it. He's the kid on all of the missing photos, the image on bus stops, tube posters, telephone boxes, and I'm so used to seeing his face that I actually asked my brother the other day if he thought that this kid was really missing or if it was just an advert for a missing kids charity or something like that, because it has been that long since I've been seeing this poster fly around London. The kid with the glasses and the half smile is called Andrew Gosden, and he went missing 13 years ago this week. Welcome to the anniversary. Shwa-na-na-na, 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 shwa-na-na-na. Andrew Gosden was 14 at the time of his disappearance. He was last seen on September 14th, 2007. This day started off as normal. It was a Friday and 14-year-old Andrew was getting ready to go to school. That's the last time that his parents and his sister saw him. He woke up late that day, which was a little bit unusual for him, but he left the house as normal. He waited until everyone left and went about their daily business before he returned to his home in Doncaster in the north of England. We actually have some CCTV footage from a neighbour from like their bin cam or something showing Andrew returning back to his house. He changes his clothes into a black Slipknot t-shirt, the band, and a pair of trousers, and he heads off. He goes into town, he emptied his bank account of £200 and he bought a one-way ticket from Doncaster station to London's King's Cross. There is CCTV footage of him leaving King's Cross station in London on that Friday morning, but then Andrew was never seen, never heard from, not a word, not a whisper, ever again. A little bit about the boy in question. He was a gifted math student, super book smart, not that street smart, but super book smart. He was on the gifted and talented program at his school, which means he was in the top 5% of students at his school. Well, not to brag, but I was also in gifted and talented when I was in a school as well. He was not the kind of person that his family thought that would be okay alone at night, especially in a strange city by himself. Although the family did have a couple of other members and some friends in London, he was known to stay at home either reading, doing his homework. He loved to play a bit of Xbox, a bit of PlayStation. He wasn't really a PC gamer. The family did get their first family computer. Well, his sister got it for her birthday, but that was just 8 weeks before he disappeared. He was in the Cubs and the Scouts, and he left only a few months before his disappearance. And even though that may be significant, maybe his behaviour did change, his parents just said that he was bored of it. He was born in July of 1993. He had light brown hair, brown eyes, wore glasses, and he was quite small for his age, at around 5'3". On the day that he disappeared, on the evening when his parents got home and his sister got back from school, they carried on as usual. They just assumed that he was upstairs in his room as he always was. When it was dinner time, they went to go and get him and Andrew wasn't there. They called the school, who told them that Andrew had never turned up that day. Somehow the school called a wrong number, it just rang out and they thought the parents weren't answering. This meant that Andrew was reported missing at about 8 hours after he was last seen. When the police were called, they were against the clock, because when it comes to missing children, the first 12 hours is so important. The first thing the police did, and this was criticised by Andrew's family, was search the house. They thought that the police should be out on the roads looking. They thought the police should be asking questions of people in the local area, but the police started in the Gosden household. They realised that his PSP, a little portable gaming console, was gone, but the charger was still in the house. His uniform was found at home, and only the clothes that he was wearing were missing. There was about £60 that he didn't take with him in cash in his home. The only money he had was the £200 that he withdrew from his bank account, and then that account was never used again. No other clothes were missing, not even a jacket. Now, I understand the weather's been quite nice this week, but English weather at best is unpredictable, and in September it does get cold, but Andrew only had the t-shirt that was on his back. The police in this case didn't necessarily do the most thorough of jobs. It was the family who found out about the CCTV from the neighbour's house. It was the family who spoke to a rail employee at Doncaster station who sold Andrew his ticket, and they had asked if he wanted a return ticket, which at the time was only £1, I think it was, extra on top of a single. Andrew explicitly stated that he didn't need a return ticket. It was 27 days after he went missing, and according to Kevin, Andrew's dad, that the CCTV footage of him was found at King's Cross Station. Andrew went missing the same year as Madeleine McCann, and of course we all know her name, we all know her picture. And whilst I do think that Andrew is a recognisable kid, I know that his story isn't nearly as widespread, as spoke about, or as famous as her one. There are so many theories as to what Andrew was getting up to that day, but I think that a lot of them come from the fact that people who look at missing people's reports, people who watch these kind of shows and listen and consume this kind of content are adults. So we are coming to it from a position of adults who think, well, if I was going to go London for the day, I would definitely get a return ticket. As an adult, I would think if I was going to go London, and even if it wasn't, I was planning on staying there for a little while, I'd definitely take the cash from my house and I would definitely take the charger for my PSP. But this is coming from the thought and the process that I have in my brain as an adult. Some people believe that Andrew went to a concert on the night that he went missing and the night that he went to London. Some people believe that he went to take his own life far away from his own family. There were reports of a kid sleeping in a park that matched his description, and in the years since he's been missing, there have been quite a few reported sightings of Andrew. His family have been really consistent and really dedicated to keeping his memory and keeping his story in the media. They've done a lot of age progression photos, what he would look like if he had long hair, what he would look like if he didn't have his glasses on. And in my research for this case, which I'm definitely going to link in the description for you guys, there are so many, is this him at a convention? Is this him on Times Square in New York? Is this him in a chat room? It has never been Andrew. His dad Kevin has even been quoted as saying he apparently just disappeared off the face of the earth, but we all know that isn't possible whatsoever. That's not possible. Something's happened to him. Somebody saw him when he left King's Cross, and even though we don't know why he was there, I should say that his family did say that he didn't suffer from depression, that he wasn't bullied at school. He was a really quiet kid, did spend a lot of time at home and only had a small circle of friends, but they didn't notice any differences in his behaviour. Of course, not every person who is suffering from any type of mental health issue is gonna show symptoms of it, but this is just the most bizarre case. The campaign that I was talking about at the beginning of this video is Find Every Child, and he is currently the face of that, which is why his image is so recognisable. Andrew's family have been haunted for 13 years about what could have happened to him after he left King's Cross Station that fateful morning in September of 2007. His father since then has suffered from anxiety, from depression, from post-traumatic stress disorder as well. His sister says that she still talks about him in the present tense because that is the assumption until they know otherwise. The South Yorkshire police, who were investigating his disappearance, did say that his DNA, his fingerprints, dental and health records are on file, and at the time of his disappearance they were all circulated to various agencies, and that even though the investigation into his disappearance has been scaled back, they are open and they are waiting for new information to tell us what happened to Andrew Gosden. As it stands today in 2020, Andrew Gosden is still a missing person. I like to tell you about true crime. I like to tell you about the crazy things that people do to each other, and I like to tell you about weird and wonderful stories. But also, I would love to use this as an opportunity to at least try and do some kind of good. In the UK, over 100,000 children are reported missing every year. Some never get solved, and the families are just left with unanswered questions. So that's why today I chose the disappearance of Andrew Gosden to tell you about in the Anniversary Crime series. And if you do have any information regarding his disappearance, you are encouraged to contact the South Yorkshire Police. Of course, I will put all of the information in the description box for you. And I hope that you guys have a good week.